our first guest. Well, we've got all three guests here. They're all returning guests. We have Sahna Foley. Sahna, it's great to see you again.
Hi.
Watson and Arthur from J.A.M.E Productions are back. And we're going to be talking about filmmaking and Halloween and scary stuff and gaming and maybe some Comic-Con and fundraising. And then we're going to talk about Star Wars. So we're going to,
and then Star Wars.
That's right. So we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. Sahna was here about a year ago, I think.
It was actually a year ago on my birthday, which was the 8th.
So time flies. Seems like just yesterday.
Yeah.
And why don't you give for our listeners? You were here for the late. I think you did the late night show. You were here on a Friday night. It was Friday or Thursday night.
Yeah,
pretty late.
It was really late.
So we get a totally different audience on Saturday nights. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit of your background? And I met you a couple of years ago at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Asked you to come on the show, and I think what you're doing is amazing. And why don't you give our guests, our listeners, a little bit of background on what you're doing, what's happening?
Okay. So I'm an actress here in Salt Lake City, and I'm on this journey of producing my own feature film. It's a roller derby horror film called Hellskate. So we've been promoting that for the last year, and we plan to film next summer. So that's what I'm doing, dude.
It looks really awesome.
So how did you get into acting? I mean, have you been doing it your whole life? Did you start several years ago?
No, it was kind of, I definitely stumbled into it. I had been playing roller derby for a few years, and when the glitter and magic of that kind of was wearing off, I started looking for something else to pursue, and I was kind of depressed in my life, so I needed something, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be an extra in a movie and cross that off the bucket list. And so I reached out to a buddy that I hadn't seen, I think, since maybe 7th grade, that I'd heard was in the acting community here. And he said, just start going for auditions. And I was like, dude, I don't even know if I can act. Like, you're crazy. I'm not going to go audition when I don't know what I'm doing. So he said, well, I'll give you the name of an acting coach that I recommend. So he did. I went, and it was like acting bug bit right away.
Wow. And you've been hooked ever since.
Yeah. Oh, it was immediate.
It happens to people.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is. Well, I think it's cool. I myself, I couldn't see myself doing it, but I mean, I think it's fun. I've had a little bit of opportunity to work with a little bit of video stuff with another television station here in town, and without a doubt, anyone who thinks it is simple to put this all together, and we'll kind of get into the movie making a little bit tonight if it's okay. There is nothing simple about it. It is hard work, and my hat's off to all the independent filmmakers like yourselves, because it is. I mean, look what I think the last time you guys were here, we talked about Star Trek, the new Star Trek movie that had just come out, and I actually watched it about a month ago on a Sunday because I had nothing better to do. And the rolling credits at the end went for 5 minutes. I mean, there was thousands upon thousands of people to make a film. And when you take a handful of people, and maybe you're not producing a Star Trek movie, but you're still putting together a good film, you're just, you can't parse everything out.
Right.
It's done at a very small level.
Right. Yeah.
So with Hellskate, why don't you give us a little bit of background? What's Hellskate all about? Or what's it going to be about?
Hellskate is the story of a couple of roller derby girls who become possessed by a demon on Halloween night in southern Utah. That's the story in a nutshell. It's going to be violent and gory and female-driven. So
zombies?
Not zombies, demons.
Kind of sick of zombies.
Okay, so I did a zombie movie, and it was a lot of fun, and it was great. When we made it, I think the director made it for about $1,000. We filmed only on weekends. We filmed over the course of a couple months, and I don't think we really expected anything to come from it. And then, it got picked up by distribution, and next thing you know, Fangoria is doing a print review. It's got legs all over the world, and still a tiny little film, but we didn't expect that at all. But I just have never really been into the zombie thing.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. We love zombies, but it's time for dinosaurs.
Oh my God, I love dinosaurs.
Right?
Please.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Demonic dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to have, instead of zombies taking over a mall, let's have velociraptors. Like, that'd be awesome. You know?
Velociraptors are way scarier.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's
you
what
had
I'm saying.
Godzilla this year already.
See, and that was fine. I liked
It was
Godzilla.
fine.
That's great. And then they're making Jurassic World, so maybe it is happening. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
But the
it needs
zombie.
happening.
But are you guys in agreement? I mean, the zombie thing is like at Comic-Con. It was a lot of fun. I've been to the 3 of them. I went to the first one and then FanX and then this last one here. And the zombie thing with people walking around with stuff hanging out of their mouth. I know right now AMC's Walking Dead is just off the charts.
Huge.
Right.
I mean, it's blowing away Sunday Night Football. It's so big. People just can't seem to get enough of the zombie thing. But it's like, okay, you know. And then, of course, when the Ebola outbreak took place, a lot of, you know, you saw a lot of the stories of a couple people waking back up after they're dead.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, that's sensationalism at its best. But I think the demonic thing, it's been kind of touched over the years, but do you think that may be the new trend?
I don't think it's ever going to
Really?
be that trendy. I don't know.
I think that's what makes this film that she's doing going to be awesome, is that it's different than everything else. And to me, it just seems amazing. Like, it seems like it's going to be so fun to watch.
Yay, that makes me happy.
I think demons are a little more unsettling. Zombies are just like, oh, people aren't that scared of zombies. We could put them in anything. Demons?
Yeah,
That's
I feel like
scary.
zombies you could almost cuddle with and be okay. and I feel like demons are,
Yeah.
they're creepy.
No, that's true. That's true.
So is the movie all? And if we could talk about that for people that don't know, and I don't know how to put a movie together. Did you do like a screenplay, a script, a storyline? I mean, where do you start with something like this? Obviously,
Yeah.
you know, it's a cool idea, it's a cool concept. You've been into the roller skating. You were Miss Disco Bliss was your
Yep.
name.
That's me.
That's you. And so you kind of transitioned, or you're taking what you enjoyed doing, and turned it into a movie, or going to turn it into a movie. Where do you start? Where did Sahna start? Where did she get going?
So the very first film I worked on was a short horror film. We'll just call it the Doll Movie because I don't know what you can say on air, and it's a kind of a risque title. But I did that a couple months before I played my last game in Derby. So it was kind of a transitional period for me. So after that film wrapped, it was the funnest time of my life. It was seriously the most ridiculous set I'd ever been on. It was so fun. And so I knew I wanted to do a horror movie. And then I basically sat on my couch for 2 weeks staring at the TV, wondering what I could kind of bring in to make it relatable to me.
Right.
And the Derby was staring me, you know, right in the face. So that's kind of how that came about. And then I kind of created a loose story, and then I worked on that. I brought in Carl Hoglar, who wrote our prequel comic book, and he wrote the first draft. And then I wanted to kind of flesh it out a little more, get some female flavoring in the storyline.
Sure.
So I brought in a couple different writers, and everybody's added a different level of awesome to it. But Carl's been there from the get-go, and so he's kind of, I always go back to him to kind of, you know, like smooth things over and run different ideas by. So yeah, that's how it came about. We're still, you know, massaging the script and getting it better and better. And we had our first table read a couple weeks ago. It was kind of a confidential thing, and I was really nervous. I kept my head down like the whole time. I was so scared because nobody had read the script outside of the very, very small people involved. And I was really relieved. Everybody was really excited afterwards, and they laughed in all the right places because it's a comedy too. There's a lot of humor in it. And they were really excited about how the females were really strong characters, and then how funny it was to them. So yeah, it's been cool.
Your comic book. When I met you for the first time at the first Comic-Con, you had a palette full of comic books. I still got a couple of them. Is the comic book is kind of just a little, to me it was kind of like you get the concept of what's going on. Have you ever thought about kind of like I didn't realize that Walking Dead was based on a comic book series. And we'll kind of get into talking to you about the film and your funding and stuff like that. But do you ever see the comic book series kind of taken off a little bit?
Yeah.
Even if the film doesn't, let's say, go right away or gets delayed for whatever reason, Do you see that? Because the comic book was very well done. I mean, it was fun to read. It was enjoyable. Nothing too terrifying for kids by any means. I mean, it was cool.
And it left you wanting more, obviously, right?
It did. It did.
Good. Well, yeah, we've received a good response, kind of around the world. It's kind of blown our minds. There was a Taiwanese girl pop fan site that took the images and translated it all and put it online. That was, I mean, I talked to the artist Chris Bodley about it, and we were just like, how did this happen? Like, this is so cool. So definitely, one of our perks actually on the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign is a copy of the new full-length comic that we're working on right now. So yeah, we're definitely doing at least one more full-length comic, and hopefully we'll do a series.
So is the comic book going to be kind of the written version of the movie, or is it just going to be little segments and little pieces of it?
I think we don't want to mimic the movie in the comic book necessarily, but there's a lot of spin-off characters within it.
The comic book's going to be kind of a cool way, and I've never done a comic, and the whole world of comics is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Comic-Con is based upon. But I mean, it can go so many different directions. So the comic books will maybe be a little slice, maybe introduce you to the characters and stuff, and kind of set the background a little bit on the characters.
Yeah, and then we'll probably take the script has gone through so many variations that we've had to take out some of our favorite characters, but they're still kind of in that world, and so we kind of want to incorporate them into the comic book series and. Tie in the lead characters of the film, of course, but kind of go more off on little side trips.
Very good, very good. It is cool. Everything about it is. It's just I feel for you because I hope you can get it off the ground. It seems like, and anything I can imagine takes just tons and tons of time.
Yeah, that's it. Really.
And it seems like I've known you forever because I've met you several times and I've seen you several times and I see your stuff out there and it I want to see it. I want to see it go for you. Do you see this as kind of a big theater? I don't mean not a big, but I mean kind of a national release or limited theater type of run. How do you make something like this go? I mean, what do you see? Where do you see it launching?
Well, I would like to do a limited theater release, if possible. I mean, it really just depends on what distribution route we take, and money, because it costs a lot of money to do a theatrical release. So I definitely see me going on the road with the film, for sure. I really like that kind of independent, like do-it-yourself spirit. Awesome. So I definitely see myself in a really crappy car, eating at like Taco Bell, sleeping on people's couches, taking the movie around.
Right. That's the life.
Yeah. So, well, I like to get in and talk to the people that are interested in seeing the film, and rather than just signing the first contract of a distribution company that comes my way and buys it and then nobody sees the movie,
because that
happens all the time, all the time. Yeah. And I think it's bull crap. So I would rather like get my feet muddier than they are already and just take it on the road if I can. So
I know one thing. Just I had a little bit of involvement with a reality series. I wasn't involved. I wasn't in it, but I was around it a little bit. And one thing that I found really disheartening in talking to some other independent filmmakers that are trying to do some things, you get a lot of these big companies. If they see let's say they see some 5 or 6 episodes in a can, they'll actually buy these things for a fairly good amount of money in the scheme of things, just to shelve them so they never go anywhere.
Right.
Matter of fact, I had a friend an acquaintance that put something together. He had 13 different episodes, all done, ready to go, AMC type quality or History Channel quality. And one of the big cable companies out there came, and one of like the Spike, I know it wasn't Spike, but it was like a Spike or a Tough or one of them. They paid him a 6-figure amount for it, and he by no means made a big profit. He just got his money back and said, cool, when are we going to see it on the air? And they told him, you'll never see it on the air. It was bought to take it out of play. And how disheartening, you know.
Yeah.
Told them maybe you'll see it in the UK because they have they have companies and channels and stations in different parts of the world. It may be shown over there and overdubbed and whatever, but it's a tough business, just as radio is a tough business. I mean, no matter, you can work so hard and just get yourself dead-ended. And I'm not trying to throw a wet towel or a wet blanket on it, but I mean that's the heart and soul of what all three of you do and try to make things go. Especially you. I mean, with your film. I mean, you're everywhere trying to make it fly.
Yeah, and that's what you said. The example of what you said. That's what I will not let happen with this movie. Because what's the point of being an artist and creating something with all these other amazing artists if it's just not going to see the light of day and nobody's going to be able to partake in that creation? Right. So, yeah, I would turn down big money if it's going to be nobody seeing the movie and then me being able to go on vacation or me struggling to pay my bills, but everybody gets to see this piece of art that, my team and I created. So
how big is your team? How many people do you have? I mean, a lot of folks, obviously. We
haven't crewed anybody really yet. It's still a little early in the game, but we do have our cinematographer is Stelios Xanthos. He's amazing, and I really enjoy.
Great name.
Yeah, I know. Right? It's so rad. He's really awesome, and he has a really great creative eye, and we work really well together. And he's just really chill, and he's a nice guy in general. And so he's definitely on board. And then our makeup artist is Danielle Donahue, and she's, oh my God, she's amazing. She's amazing. And she's also like one of my very, very good friends. But she's definitely one of the best in the business. And then, that's about it right now. Like, we really haven't gone beyond that. And those two people are tagged because, number one, they're my buddies, and I love working with them, and they do amazing work. But we've done a teaser trailer, and they were involved in that. So.
Well, and do they do the makeup like when you go to the different events and stuff? And
Danielle, yeah, for the Comic-Cons that you've seen me at, Danielle does those. Yeah, and then Kirsten Nielsen, she does the hair. So. Now,
who's your friend that you're with all the time, all over Hellskate? Who's the other girl?
Oh, okay, that's my Ukrainian kitten. That's Oksana Georgiou.
Okay.
She's awesome. Yeah, so she's definitely like she plays one of the lead characters.
Gotcha. Because I see her in all the posters and everything. So.
Yeah, and I met her back in 2008 when I first got into acting, and. She's just a great girl, and she works really hard. She's an amazing dancer, and she's just somebody that really practices her craft, and she deserves the opportunity to have a lead role in something that I feel could give her more exposure, possibly. So,
one of the questions that came in for you is, do you plan on going to any of the other Comic-Cons across the country before you launch?
Well, I would love to. We tried this last year, but we just didn't have it in the budget.
It's expensive.
It's so expensive.
I didn't realize how. I mean, like when the first Comic-Con was here in Salt Lake, and they didn't think it was going to be much, of an event.
Yeah.
The booths were a couple $100. I think it was pretty cheap. I think
I paid $600 for mine, and then you got to pay power on top of that.
Right.
But then. Then they decided, we're going to do another one, and we're going to rename it, and we're going to do it in 6 more months.
Right.
And we're going to raise the price $300. I was like, what? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's business. Yeah. But, yeah, they're great. I do want to get to the ones out of state, though. So I think as we get closer to launching the film, you'll see us out of state.
So you're doing an Indiegogo campaign now.
Right now, yeah.
So tell us about that. What and just to talk about, I mean, because that's a valid question. I think there's a lot of people that are more than willing to donate money and help out these projects. Where does the money go? I mean, what will it be used for?
So
besides nice dinners and travel or something.
No, God, I wish. No, there are people I know that have used their money for that, but I would feel like I would go to hell if I did that. Like I just feel it's so important to respect everybody's dollar that they give you. So for us, we've raised like $5,000 so far.
Wow.
And so immediately that will go to pay for legal, pay for our writers, pay for continuing promotions that we have to do to keep the machine going. And then also I'm really excited. I'm going to start rehearsals for the skaters soon, so we got to pay for all that. So, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
So where can people go if they want to support your film? Where can they? Where's the best place for them to go and then make a donation?
And yes, you want to support this film.
Yeah, well, without a doubt.
Thanks, Alex. So you can go to Indiegogo.com and search for Hellskate.
Is there a link off the Hellskate page too?
There is a link. It's a weird one. It's like http://
all that
blah,
computer
blah, blah.
stuff.
Yeah, all that crap. So, yeah, just go to Indiegogo.com and then search for Hellskate, and you'll find us.
Cool.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll get what's your budget set at?
Well, the budget for the overall film is right around $500,000.
Okay.
So, the other reason that we wanted to do the crowdfunding was so that we could, come up with a chunk of money from our fan base and our supporters and go to the bigger investors and say, there's faith in this film. People want to see it, and so that's really, we wanted to prove ourselves before going to bigger investors.
Sure. No, I think it's cool. Now you're doing a lot of different events.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight you've got actually something going on. What's going on tonight?
Tonight is the Salt City Derby Girls season-ending game, and so we're going to be at their after party. We're hosting their after party at Bar Deluxe in Salt Lake.
So now how did you get into roller skating? And maybe you could give us a little bit of background on roller skating. I think it's them are some tough women.
It's so awesome. I love it. So, going further back into my depressing years of my mid-20s, I was basically just really, really depressed. And I was working an office job. And I needed an outlet. And I saw the A&E show Roller Girls, which was a reality show based out of a team in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, my God, that is so amazing. It has, glitter and sequins and tough sports and chicks. And I thought, that's like a world I wish was in Utah. And about 6 months later, my husband came home and said, your friend is in roller derby. I just ran into her. So I called her and I said, show me the way. And I went to their very next open practice. It was the last one they did. It was the Salt City Derby Girls. It was the last one they did before they started doing legitimate tryouts. So I signed up, and like acting, it was just kind of like hook, line, and sinker. I was into it. I loved it.
Did you travel with them?
We did. A little bit. The first out-of-state game we did was with the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls in Denver, and I think I still have jaw problems from being hit like that. We were so... Oh my gosh, we got our butts kicked in that one. We were so unprepared, but they were awesome. I love Rocky Mountain; they're so sweet. And then we went to Vegas and played in Vegas at the roller derby convention, RollerCon, which that's a great con to go to. Really, if you're a derby girl, but
so that's kind of like a huge roller derby conference type of thing.
Oh my God, yeah!
I didn't know roller derby. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, a long time ago. And back in Chicago, they used to, when the when the UHF channels were popular, the small TV stations. I know on some of the not so big ones, on Sunday morning they'd have wrestling and then they'd have roller derby, and most of it was, I'm pretty sure most of it was live. It was, and it was huge. I mean, they'd have it at all these different auditoriums and stuff like that, and the people there and. Of course, there was the nice girl, the mean girl, and it was, kind of like the WWE is today.
Yeah, it used to be that way, and still awesome though. And then the revival was the flat track derby, which is what I played, and that kind of came. Oh, I can't remember right now. The girls, there was a bunch of girls that kind of relaunched it in the early 2000s, and then it just has steadily become one of the fastest growing sports in the world. So now it's actually inclusive to kids and men, and transgenders. It's an inclusive, all-inclusive sport, which is wonderful. So that's been really cool.
Is it starting to grow a little bit? I know.
It's huge.
Really?
It's huge. I mean, just here in Utah alone, you have teams all over, and you have the men's team, and you got the juniors team, and so it's really cool.
Do you think we'll ever see it return to the television again, or?
Probably. Yeah. Probably. I mean, they've definitely in the last. I got out of the game in 2008, and then they started shortly after that, they started kind of going more towards a more athletic rather than, because when I was in it, it was still all about the fishnets, and we were very athletic. Still, it was very like sports driven, but there was a little more theatrical side to it. And then and now they've been going more towards like an Olympic sport.
So the more serious side of it.
Yeah,
it's a serious sport than acting and. Yeah. I know there's no acting because, I mean, the way some of those people took hits and stuff. Right?
No, and in the revival since the early 2000s, there wasn't any acting. It was all real. It was all, the injuries were all real, the spills were all real, the fights were all real if they happened, so.
Want to take a call?
Yeah.
Okay. Caller, good evening. Welcome to K-Talk. You're on with Sahna.
Hey, Sahna, you know the song by Jim Croce, Roller Derby Queen?
Yes.
That's just about one of my most favorite songs.
Oh.
Honestly, and I remember watching the women's skate around probably in the late 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And there was a circuit, and that mostly was TV. But we got to go around with it. There's a certain excitement to it that I can't explain, but I sure do love it.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Sure do love that song, too. Every time I hear it, it just brings back memory. It's like going to a baseball park when you was a kid, and then when you're an adult, you go to the baseball park and you feel like a kid again.
Oh, I love that.
Did you go to a lot of the skating events, Harv?
I did. I went to a few of them. My old dad was out at the State Industrial School, and it was for forlorn type children, and we met everybody. People used to come out there, skaters and boxers, and it was really my childhood was pretty fun. I couldn't wait to get out of it. Now I wish I'd go back right now.
Well, do you roller skate yourself?
Oh yeah, sure. The old gym out at State Industrial School. You know, I put the sting on. You know, I mean, everybody had a pair of them old metal roller skates when I was a kid. And
oh yeah.
Then you take them off and you put them on a piece of plywood, and now you got a skateboard. So, and then you got to unscrew them to go skating. You know, it was a constant battle. But once we could get into the old gym, they had a bunch of skates that were donated, I think, by Berthana on 25th Street, skating rink that used to be over there.
Yep.
An old wooden floor. Oh, there ain't nothing better than wood. But
I agree.
But so yeah, I started putting my chill on. I'd go over there and work out, man. I'd get a roll going. It was flat because it was a gym. But I can only imagine if it was tipped like a NASCAR track, how fast you could actually get going.
Yeah, and the skates nowadays are super streamlined, so.
They're high performance.
They're high performance.
Yeah, like rollerblades almost, huh?
Wait, they're way better than rollerblades.
I'm kind of more.
What is this blasphemy?
No, what Harv was talking about, that's when I was young, that's what I did. You'd strap on those, and I'll tell you what, if you screwed up, you'd just like rip your ankles open. You'd rip the skin right open on them, you know, you'd be black and blue, and it was, if they weren't.
That hasn't changed.
Okay. You could never get them tight enough.
The day that I fell in love with the roller derby queen, round and round, go round and round. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks,
Take
buddy.
care. Bye-bye.
I love you.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, it's, well, you know, roller skating, I mean, here in Salt Lake, we've got, there's a skate place down in Sandy, I think, for the
Classic
kids.
Skating,
Classic. Yeah. Is it still roller skating? Still? Yep. Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I know that's weird.
No, I
blades
know.
were all the rage in the 90s, but quad skating is back and better than ever.
Really?
There you go.
I honestly didn't. It's something, you know, it's like ice skating. I mean, it seemed like it was big for a while, and then it kind of backed off and stuff. And
Ice skating is big every 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
With the Olympic.
Well, what happened there for 4 years? That's weird.
Well, I know the Olympic track, the Olympic Oval out there. There's people out there all the time.
That's where we actually used. That's where Salt City actually used to train. Was out there.
Oh, they have a on the walking track.
Yeah. Well, they had one of the middle sections covered over.
So I would say roller skates on ice probably wouldn't work.
That would
too
be
well.
fascinating, though.
I bet. I bet it would. No, I didn't know that skating was that it was still big. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's the one thing I talk about on this show so much. We get so hung up with technology and the internet and Facebook and all that other fun stuff. And nothing wrong with that, but I mean, that's a lot of the kids of
Who
today.
wants to leave their house anymore?
Well, but that's the problem. We get so hung up in the technology and, you know, getting on there and being able to buy stuff off Amazon and I mean, you know, with all the banking. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I mean, it's so easy to make purchases and people just sometimes get hung up at home in the corner with their laptop or their iPad or their iPhone and
All they need is a pair of roller skates.
pair of roller skates or a pair of ice skates. Just get out and breathe some
go.
fresh air.
Yep.
You know, I
Yep.
mean, without a doubt. But I did not know that. I did not think that it was quite that popular. And Hellskate's going to help bring that back.
That would be cool.
It would be cool.
That would be awesome.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Fringe Radio tonight, live in studio. We've got the guys from J.A.M.E Productions. Sahna Foley is here, talking about our new movie, Hellskate. Sahna, thank you for giving us some time tonight. I know you're very busy.
No, thanks for having me. Anytime.
So we were talking a little bit before the break about roller skating, and do you think that this is going to maybe promote the sport a little bit more? Or, you know, obviously, I'm interested again now in it. I don't know if I'll go skating or not. I don't want to kill myself.
Well, you know, it's hard to say because Whip It came out. Drew Barrymore directed Whip It a couple years back. And that was a very mainstream film.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely got the word out. And then mine's a little more underground feeling, I think. And it's the horror genre. And so I don't know. I mean, I hope it would be really cool if like 5 years down the road, some girl comes up to me and says, I started Derby because I saw your movie.
Mm-hmm.
That would be worth making the movie for, I think. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Are you going to get now with the movie? Obviously, you're going to need a team to skate, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to just pick up leaving the rink, or maybe you are. I don't know, but I mean, will you grab actors to do that, or
Yeah,
will you
yeah.
grab is the local team in town more than willing to help you out?
Well, it will be a combination.
Okay.
I'm all about hiring actors to do an actor's job.
Okay.
And,
Why is that?
Well, we've all seen those movies where they put friend of a friend of a
Yeah,
friend's son's produce, like, you know, like
know.
in there,
I
and
just
they
wanted to hear you
talk
say
like
that.
a robot.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'm an actor's actor, especially for the local ones that need the opportunity for exposure and for bigger jobs. So I'm all about that. But yeah, definitely, when we start rehearsals for the skating portion of it, the girls that are involved in that, the actors will put them through the boot camps and get them ready. And then for like any over the top stunt work that needs to be done, we'll definitely pull in, you know, more experienced doubles.
Gotcha.
And I would love to have my local Derby compatriots in that
Involved
group.
in the
So
film.
yeah.
How long is this film going to be?
Well, the script right now is about 92 pages, so about an hour and a half.
Is it going to be set up for a sequel? Of
Probably.
course. You know,
Probably.
they all end up that
I mean,
way.
I don't know that I want to see my whole life as a roller skating derby horror film.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, for the next couple of years, I'm fine with it.
So let me ask you guys this, because you're all kind of in the same. You're in the film production business. You're making a film. What does it take to get it into? I mean, what does it take to take a film like Hellskate and get it big, get it like a St. Vincent that just opened up last night with Bill Murray? I mean, what does it take to get it into that big league?
Money.
Really?
Money and connections.
Yeah, I'd have to say committed people for sure, and sometimes that has to come from money. But nothing is more worse than going into a project full of these people saying they're willing to commit to something and then they don't do it. So,
Oh, it's the worst.
yeah, exactly. So I would have to say committed people that maybe don't mind getting paid in top ramen and hugs sometimes. But,
How good are your hugs?
They're great, actually. So if anybody wants one,
I'll take one after the show.
Okay, perfect. And then she can justify what I said. So that's what I would say.
But I mean, do you need a big name actor?
I don't think. Well, I think it depends on your genre.
Okay.
I think with like the horror genre, I don't think you're necessarily.
Because I mean, the horror movies that are coming out,
They throw anybody in them.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they really do. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think it's really a good thing because for so long, films. I mean, it was Tom Cruise or like Brad Pitt. Dude, give it up. I mean, we've seen enough Brad Pitt films. I mean, he's a good actor, but we've seen enough of those. It's kind of. I think we're kind of at that turning point where we need to bring in some fresh blood, if you will. I mean, it's time to start bringing these smaller actors in, and people that are coming from these smaller type of films. And there's more and more films out there that I think are very well done. Sadly, a lot of them end up going right to Netflix. Mm-hmm. They seem to die pretty quick. It seems like it takes the big name, it takes the Denzel Washington, it takes the Brad Pitt, it takes the Tom Cruise to get them anywhere.
Yeah, without the power of a big studio and their budget behind a film, it's really hard to hit the mainstream.
Where's a good place to go now? Like these independent films, these indie films. I'll be honest with you, for years, I used to hear about indie films. I never got into them. I kind of thought, eh. And I find that so many of the indie films, the independent documentaries here in town on Channel 7, there's a show on Wednesday night called America Reframed. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that. It touches on a lot of really touchy subjects. It kind of crosses those lines of things that it's things we don't want to think about, things we don't want to talk about. My wife and I the other day watched one here. It was about this up in North Dakota with the oil drilling process that's going on, where the federal government is paying $15,000 a day to drill holes into the ground. This is just one payment they're making to drill holes in the ground to be given to the Indian reservation, the people on the reservation. And it was kind of a sad film because, first of all, the high ups, the leaders of the Indian reservation are not giving this $15,000 a day to the people. They're keeping it. The problem that they're having right now is that, and I didn't even know this, I wasn't aware of this, the police officers, the Indian reservation officers that carry guns and wear uniforms and have cars with lights and stuff like that, if you're not a Native American Indian, you can walk on that reservation and basically do whatever you want, and I mean whatever you want, and get away with it. They can't do a thing about it. So what this documentary was about, it was actually a documentary/film, and I know I'm rambling here, but it kind of talked about the nitty-gritty side, the things that we don't think about, the things that we want to put out of our mind, the things we don't want to look at. And there is just, the work is just phenomenal. And now I am committed to watching this type of stuff.
Yeah.
I really am.
I wish that there were, cable channels or TV stations that made that type of film more readily available to the public.
Right.
I mean, look, we saw what happened with Blackfish. I don't know if you guys saw Blackfish, but
it went to Netflix pretty quick, didn't it?
No, it really made an enormous change in SeaWorld's business.
Okay, so I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Well, but then they were lucky enough to get picked up by CNN Films.
Right.
And so CNN saw how important this movie was, the truth of what is going on with these animals in captivity, and blasted it and made sure that people in our society had access to it. And I would love to see that with more documentary films like the one you talked about, because we're so primed in this country to just glaze over when anything important comes our way. We're like, oh, it's too tough. I can't. It's so painful. I just like to out of sight, out of mind. That's a major problem with our thought process in this country.
Exactly.
And so if we could have more access to these types of films, I think we'd see a lot of change.
Yeah.
One of the big things I'm seeing with that is a lot of this stuff that you guys were mentioning is going onto YouTube. YouTube is they're pretty great about at least not censoring. There's a few things you got to censor when it comes to things, but I've seen some really great films that don't get picked up but are just put on YouTube. And even then, it is hard to try and get people to watch your stuff. But I feel like YouTube is starting to become the new big thing to put your stuff into.
Right.
And these documentaries that don't get picked up get thrown on there, and then they get pretty popular. Or I don't know. I feel like YouTube used to be taken as, oh, that's where I go to watch cat videos. But
Still where I go to watch cat videos.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll have to NFL compilations. But no, I think what it's starting to go in is to, during The Walking Dead this last week, there was an advertisement for a YouTube channel for a thing called Video Game High School, and it's a series that this guy does, and it's just basically it's a high school that people go to strictly do video games. But what's cool is like when they go do the video games, it like looks like they put themselves in the video games and stuff. But it was advertised on AMC during Walking Dead. And that was crazy to me.
I did see, and I wanted to talk to you, especially you, Sean, about that. I caught a program here about a month ago about these YouTube multimillionaires. These guys, my son was telling me there's some guy out there who all he does is review video games. He puts a YouTube thing on. He gets millions of hits. This guy is making $1 million a year salaries. Yeah. The checks are coming in like crazy. There's some of these YouTube stars out there that are just making, mega bucks. Would you ever consider with Hellskate, I know where you want to go with this, would you ever consider if you couldn't get the budget, maybe do it at a lesser level, maybe a smaller level, and put it on YouTube, do it as a YouTube type film? Would you ever consider that?
Well, for Hellskate, if I don't get investors or make the budget that we have set right now, that's fine. I'll find a way to make it for cheaper, but not cutting quality.
Right.
But as far as YouTube, I think it's a phenomenal platform for people like us. I think people have figured out a way to carve out a little niche for themselves because, it's hard to get signed on with big agencies and big studios and get that kind of support. So you kind of have to find the loopholes in the system. And I think a lot of people on YouTube have done that very well. So, but I've definitely thought about doing a YouTube web series.
Yeah, from my understanding, and a lot of people here in Utah, I haven't interacted with a lot of them, but with even some of the people that do the film commission or do the filmed in Utah and stuff, we're seeing series now appear, on a weekly basis that are rolling out to YouTube. And the numbers on some of this stuff, I do get a kick about some of these people that say, yeah, I'm on YouTube and there's 5 views. And then the new Avengers movie trailer hit. Just saw that tonight because I thought it was pretty frickin' cool. Mm-hmm. And that's an okay word to use.
You can say cool?
Yeah, you can say cool. It was a really, really cool and it's got 37 million views on it right now.
Yeah. But that's because, the studios have that money to throw it down our throats. So now
But the audience is there.
Right.
The people are there.
Well, it's just
the
tenacity and the perseverance of the person that's behind the project. So if that person with the YouTube show with 5 views now, they keep with it and they start marketing themselves well and continue to put out good work that people are interested in, then their viewers are going to go up. You just got to stick with it.
We got a big group of people that listen to this show up at the University of Utah, and Tracy writes in and says, Sahna, are you putting documentary style type film together right now in your adventure of making Hellskate for maybe I think what she's saying is for demo reel down the road or a blooper reel? I mean, are you starting to build? Are you starting to build that right now?
I would normally have a camera person with me tonight because we are documenting this whole adventure. Yeah, so we're really excited about that, and that is to go hand in hand with the film on the DVD. So, yeah, I'm excited.
The director's cut.
The director's cut. Yeah, it'll be
if it goes big, we'll have to film in here. Don't forget the little people at K-Talk.
But no, I think I love the extras that you get on a DVD. Like
Right.
that's the first thing I watch is the behind the scenes or the making of or whatever. And I think the way that we're doing Hellskate is showing people exactly, the process and I hope it's going to be interesting to people to watch because it's kind of a diary of what we're doing.
To it. I mean, just seeing you at Comic-Con and standing there for 4 days and listening to the stupid questions and.
But it's what though, it's fun. It's really fun and it's exciting
fun for
to meet.
About 3 hours.
No, it's really we really enjoyed it.
I'm showing my age too. I do.
This last time I was actually I was really, really sick. I was very sick, and I lost my voice 100% by the third day. I woke up and I couldn't make one scratch out of my voice, and I had to be on another film set as an actor the very next day. I was terrified, but I was really, really sick, and so I couldn't interact with people the way I had been able to the last couple times, but because I really enjoy meeting the people that come by and seeing their interest in it. It means so much to me that they would stop by and they'd ask me anything about it. So I love it.
And I can tell you're dedicated. I mean, without a doubt.